Good morning or good evening. It's 3:30 a.m. for me. Hungry, so we're gonna make a late night, very early morning snack. Um, I'm gonna stick to something like really simple, but you know, still like you know what some would consider food. We're not gonna just make oatmeal or ramen noodles. We're gonna get out of here, you bot. Thank you for making me feel less lonely. No, we're gonna, um, yeah, we'll make some grilled egg rolls, some grilled chicken and cabbage egg rolls. And I don't know if any of y'all have been here before and you've seen me make egg rolls or dumplings or anything like that. One of the first things I always start with is the sauce. And the reason for that is a lot of the time, the longer you let it just sit, the better it tastes. And so for this late night snack, I'm gonna keep everything very simple, using only ingredients you can get just at like a Walmart or a Dollar Tree, or both. So we're not gonna get too complicated today. Uh, so our dipping sauce, we're gonna use this little container. It works perfectly for me. I always keep reusing it for the exact thing. And what we always do is we fill the very bottom of this with just crushed red pepper flakes. A very generic spicy flavor, but it's full of flavor. So when we add our soy sauce and then our vinegar to it, the three of these flavors they'll mix together perfectly. Not one of these will be too strong, it won't be too spicy, it won't be too salty, and it won't be too sour. These three things will work together, and it'll come out great. So this will be a little bit more on the spicy side. I kind of like it that way. Yeah, we did a thick layer. Ooh, sorry. Thick layer to just coat the bottom of this container. At least somebody's. Anyways, yeah. Next, we'll go ahead and add some regular white vinegar. Just like that. Just on a little bit. Oh, it's on the outside. Huh. Wondering what's going on. Where'd it go? Whatever. Yes. Ooh, gross. Now with the same amount of vinegar, we will add soy sauce. Maybe just a tad bit more. Alright, there we have it, our dipping sauce. That is perfect. Alright, we're gonna leave that just over here. It's out of the way. And then the next step, we are going to make the wrappers for our egg rolls. So, let's turn our attention to this side of the table, where we have our pastry board. How fun. Alright, take this bowl out of the way. And we're probably going to use this to help with making our sheets. You know, or our wrappers. It'll be a whole sheet of the pastry dough, and then we'll cut it up into little squares. And we'll use those to wrap up our egg rolls, you know? So here we have our bowl. Nice red mixing bowl. Yeah, come a little closer, guys. Not that close. Yeah, don't be shy. Yeah. Shoot. I forgot there's like a thing like this right underneath here. I just hit my knee on it. I was worried I was gonna break it if I kept on going in that direction. But I think it's fine. Alright, I'll be more careful now. But yes. So we're gonna go ahead and start out with our flour. All-purpose flour. And we're gonna do 2 cups of flour, okay? That'll give us a lot of sheets. It'll give us like maybe 20 to 30 sheets. Wrappers for our egg rolls, you know what I mean? Keep on calling them sheets. I think that's fine. Egg roll sheets. No, maybe not. Egg roll wrappers. Yeah, much better. Here's one. Kind of rough, I know. A lot of people want to really make it perfect, but this isn't baking. So we don't have to be too perfect. This is also, what do you call it? A 3:30 a.m. snack, so we definitely don't need to be perfect. We're just making food, right? We're just feeding ourselves. We're not putting on a show. So yeah. There we are. We've got our 2 cups of flour in a bowl, and as you saw, I kind of threw an extra little bit in there just for good measure. Set this flour aside. Flour. Okay. And we're gonna add a little bit of baking powder. You don't really have to add the baking powder. I like doing this just because it kind of softens up the dough a little bit. Because what ends up happening, especially because I end up making like a bunch of these at once, because I'm probably gonna be making like 30 egg rolls or so, they end up getting dry. The wrappers get dry, so this simply makes it fluffier, which that fluffiness gives me the illusion that they're not as dry, even though they kind of probably still are, but whatever, you know. We'll use about half of a tablespoon of baking powder. I think that's an adequate amount. And then just some salt. We'll do a nice little pinch of salt. See, I put like that much in it. That's not good. We'll give this a nice little dry mix. And what I like to do in the mixing bowl is I make like a little crater in the middle. And this helps me get the water, because we're about to add water. This helps me mix the water into the flour without getting too much that stickiness on whatever I'm using to mix, which is usually just a fork for me. So we've got 2/3 of a cup of water, not quite a cup of water, 2/3 of a cup. My favorite measurement as far as making like these type of wraps is I like to do 1/3 of a cup of flour. No, 1 cup of flour for every 1/3 of a cup of water. I think that always makes like the perfect mix. So yeah, we'll do this in 3 parts. 3 even parts of this. I don't just pour it all in at once, it just makes it harder to mix. So yeah, do 1/3 of this. And then what I like to do is, from the outside of the bowl where it's just flour, I throw that into the little crater we made in the very beginning. This just kind of keeps, my mixing tool as clean and less sticky, Obviously, it's still going to stick, as you can see, but it's just, less, and then easier to work with throughout the process. So now it looks like a bunch of little wet rocks. That's like the first step as far like 1/3 of the cup, or 1/3 of the amount of water we have. So now we'll pour another 1/3 of the amount we've had, just kind of right in the middle. Nice little splash there. So yeah, we'll give this another mix. And at this point, it should be really coming together. Just like a few dry spots here and there, mainly sticking to the bowl. The dry spots, I mean, not the actual dough. The dough should still be relatively dry. But yeah, it's all coming together. Look at that. Almost where we want it. Got our mixing spatula. Just kind of clean off the fork. Kind of scrape down the sides, I mean. Make sure we get every bit of flour in the dough, into that dough, I mean. Alright. At this point, it kind of looks like vegan meat, you know what I mean? Like, I don't mean to make fun, it's just kind of, that's that look, that vegan, like, meat appearance. But now we're going to bring it all together with that last little splash of water. And you can see it's definitely all sticking together. Give it a couple of rolls onto itself. So you can get all the dry bits. Yeah, we're really making a dough here, guys. Took no time at all, right? Pretty easy, pretty simple. Imagine doing this without any talking whatsoever. You can get it done even faster, right? So, yeah, we're worried about not having like egg roll wrapper sheets or wonton or dumpling wrapper sheets. Make them yourself, man. Just like this. A little flour, a little salt, a little water, man. Just a little bit of patience. You get it done. So now my dough is just a little bit on the wetter side. So I'm going to throw in a little more flour. No big deal. That's what happens sometimes. Although, actually, hold on. Hold on. Maybe we won't. Maybe we won't. Because I can still see some drier spots. Maybe I'm not being patient like I was just talking about, you know? Although no, yeah, I'm gonna add a little bit more flour. It is just, you know, on the sticky side. It's not what we want. Not quite what we want. I always add like little sprinkles. I never add like a whole lot at once. A lot of the time it really is just that tiny amount that you need. Suddenly you're there. Suddenly you're in perfect dough city. With your perfect dough. Okay. Here we go. You know what we'll go ahead and do? Since we have flour on our hand, we'll just start mixing with our hand, you know, and we can really get a good feel for our dough. Yeah, it's at that dry enough stage where you can start handling it. As you can see, no problem. A little bit of it sticks to my hands, but it's not too terrible. It's not like slimy or anything. It's actually to the point where I can grab the doorknob and it won't make the doorknob filthy. Just brush it off with a paper towel and I can clean it off. And the dough feels good. It's a nice dough. Might just a touch more flour. I think we'll be right where we want it. Dough. Totally missed the dough ball. Hit the side of the bowl. It's okay. I'll be right back to wash off my hand. Totally meant to grab plastic wrap when I went in there, but that's alright. I'll get it in a second. It's looking really smooth. Alright guys, that is our dough for our egg roll wrappers. Alright, back to the cutting board, guys. So we've made our dipping sauce, and then we've made our dough. We just haven't made that dough into sheets. So what we're going to do next is we are going to start making our filling. We're also going to make this very simple. So in case you do want to make this too, you can follow along and then tweak it however you want as far as the flavors go. So first we are just going to cut up this piece of cabbage. It's like a little wedge of cabbage. Should be plenty for us. Go ahead and cut off this piece of the core. Just like that. Put that off to the side. Won't be using that. And yeah, let's start chopping up this. Should be. Now what we're gonna do, since these are gonna be grilled egg rolls, is we're gonna go ahead after chopping this cabbage up and then our chicken. We're gonna cook down our filling. This will both it will make sure that the chicken is cooked, since we aren't going to be deep frying it or the entire egg rolls. But it'll also soften the cabbage, so whenever we are rolling the egg rolls, it won't be so stiff and troublesome. There we have it, nice little shreds of cabbage. Break up and throw in here. You notice I did the vegetables first. I don't think I did that last time, but anyways, I did that this time so I can, once I'm done cutting the chicken, I don't have to clean my cutting board twice. Because last time I think I cut the chicken, then I had to clean the cutting board, then I had to cut the cabbage, and clean it one more time at the very end. So I defrosted 3 pieces of chicken. I may just use 2, honestly. So we're going to leave this one alone. Okay, we're going too far. I'm gonna wash my hand because this is my knife hand, and I just touched the chicken bunch with it. It's no big deal. Alright, anyways. I'm gonna go wash off my hands real quick. Let's chop up this chicken. It's a really small bite sizes. Last time we took the skin off, and then this time I'm gonna try to keep it on. See if we can, see if it'll I don't think it'll be awful or anything. Now, before we go further, obviously our chicken in our bowl with our cabbage. Here, I'll go ahead and crack our egg into that. We also have an egg in here. Okay. But yes, I'm going to clean off this cutting board and this knife real fast, just because I don't want to keep it all dirty and such, so I'll be right back. Alright, now like everything else, we're going to keep this very simple. Before we add all of our seasonings, I am going to give this a nice mix. So we got our egg, our ground up chicken or chopped up chicken, and our cabbage, shredded up, chopped up cabbage. I'm just going to give this a good mix. Alright, that's looking just like that. A lot of the chicken does kind of naturally just sit to the bottom, but it is pretty well mixed. It's fine. Once it's all cooked down, it'll be mixed much easier. It's actually a good amount of chicken for the amount of cabbage we have in here. We won't need that third piece. So, like I keep saying, we're going to keep it simple. So we're going to start with just some salt. I'm using about a teaspoon and a half. A lot light. I think you can see it. Ground black pepper. Garlic powder. This is the Dollar Tree brand. It's not that bad. It's just like garlic powder. Obviously, it's not top shelf. Onion powder. And then soy sauce. Not too much, but enough to almost change the color of everything. So far, and then we'll give it another good mix. I think it gives it that, yeah. It's a good smell. It smells good. I'm ready to fry it up. Looks good. I'm gonna go ahead and cook the filling in this pan. I'm gonna give this a good rinse. It's not dirty, but this is a garage, so might be like little dust or pollen or whatnot. Alright, so where we have the filling right now, uh, it's about ready to come off the stove. We're not trying to cook it all the way through, because then obviously we'd end up with some really dried out filling once the egg rolls are fully cooked and made. We just want to soften up the cabbage enough so it rolls in the egg rolls pretty easily. Um, and we want the chicken, like obviously we cut it up into really small pieces, so we want it to get like just barely starting to cook because it'll very quickly finish cooking once we get those egg rolls going. So yeah, the next step, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and pull the filling off the stove. Probably put it back in the little bowl. Let it all kind of cool down so we can roll it. Alrighty, guys. This is our egg roll filling. We've made our egg roll dough for the wrappers, and we've made our dipping sauce. Tell y'all what then. I want this to cool down. I want the dough in the fridge to also kind of cool down as well. So I'm gonna end the stream, and then in just a little bit I'll get it going again. Just I don't want to just keep the stream going just to have y'all waiting on things to cool down. So I'll be back, I guess, in a little bit.